ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। So we chant with the Gita Dhyana shlokas written by Madhusudana Saraswati. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Graditam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshini Bhagavati Ashtadashadhyayini अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तककेशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरारः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारत पंकजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुता स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So today's verse is second verse of Dhyana Shloka. So after the first verse, Madhusudana Saraswati ji invoking Bhagavad Gita, Ambatvam Anusandadhami. I invoke you, O Ma Gite. I invoke you because why I invoke you? You are Bhavat Dveshini. Bhava is samsara, becoming. Samsara is what? You keep on becoming something. You just keep on becoming. That it comes to an end by this knowledge which is given by the mother Amba, the Gita. Advait Amrita Varshini. Advaita Amrita Varshini Bhagavad Gita. अष्टादशाध्यायिनीं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराण मुनिना, and given by whom? Bhagavan Narayana himself, and it was taught to whom? Partha, Prithaputra Partha Arjuna. Now, after invoking Bhagavad Gita, through the second verse, Bhagavan Veda Vyasa is invoked, the author of the Bhagavad Gita. So the author of Mahabharata. So he says, Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe. Oh Vyasa, Namostute, Nama te astu, tubhyam te, to you our namaskars. Vishala Buddhe, he is of a vast intellect. Who is Vyasa? Vyasa is of a very, very vast intellect. Vishala Buddhi. His buddhi, there's an anecdote which is said that when Bhagavan Vedavyasa in Badrinath thought of writing Mahabharata, then he thought who will be taking his dictation when he will be dictating, who is there. So Ganesha, he thought about Ganesha. So Ganesha said, I will write for you. So he said, my condition is that you should not stop when I am dictating to you. So then Vyasa said, okay, I agree. Ganesha said, I agree that I will not stop. You will not stop, but the whole thing is you have to understand first the meaning and then you have to write. And that is why there is a purple verse now and then in the Mahabharata, which, Vedavyasa, just to gain time, he gives a purple verse so that Ganesha also has to spend some time. Otherwise, this thing with Ganesha said, if you will stop, I will stop right. So therefore, it goes on like that. That is what it is. The canvas is of Mahabharata. So the oil is Bharata Taila Purnaha. Bharata Taila Purnaha is the canvas in which oil of lamp, in which the Gyan, Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha. Jnanamaya Pradipaha. The Pradipa, the lamp was lighted, which was knowledge, Jnanamaya, the lamp of knowledge. The lamp of knowledge was Bhagavad Gita. Through the canvas of Mahabharata, the knowledge was given by Bhagavan Vedavyasa in the form of Gita. So that and how he could give this? Because it is said his netra, he had a very clear vision. Why? This clear vision is denoted by Madhusudana Saraswati in this verse. Pulla Aravinda Ayata Patra Netra. Pulla Aravinda Ayata Patra Netra. The Pulla Aravinda, the fully blossomed lotus, the petal of a blossomed lotus, how is it? It is like this, fully blossomed lotus petal. The petal of a fully blossomed lotus is a big like this. Like eye is like a fully of the size of a petal, which is of a fully blossomed lotus. Pullara Vindayata Patra Netra. So that through this is clear vision is depicted here by this Madhusudana Saraswati, and that is why he could light up the knowledge lamp through the Mahabharata, that is in the form of the Bhagavad Gita. So this Mahabharata is Itihasa. And in the Gita, all the verses are culled from the Upanishads. And Upanishads are the end portion of the Vedas. We saw that, Vedanta. So that what is the Veda? Veda is given by Bhagavan himself. It is all the mantras. I told you in the last class, Rishaya mantra drashtara natu mantra kartara. They are not the author of the mantras, they are the seers of the mantras. So the Vedas is divided into two portions. We saw in the last class, Vedas are divided into two portions. First portion is the Karma Kanda and the end portion is the Dhyana Kanda. First portion is the Sadhana Sadhya. Through karma, you have to achieve. You are wanting to achieve through karma, all your money, power, dharma, artha, kama, all the dharma, artha, kama pursuits you are trying to gain through the karma kanda. So sadhya vastu, that which is to be gained through some karma, that Veda is enumerating all the means and ends. The known means known ends, unknown means unknown ends. Known means unknown ends, unknown means known ends, unknown means unknown ends. Like Swarga is unknown and the means are unknown. So Veda is telling you how to reach Swarga. So that all this is pramana. The Vedas are giving you all this knowledge, how to achieve your goals, your ends, your objectives, what you want to achieve. All that is in the first portion of the Veda. That is a sadhya vastu. Through karma, you can achieve that. But there is something which is to be achieved, that is gained, that is not to be gained, that I told you in the last class, siddha vastu, like the specs, you know, you're already achieved. It is praptasya prapti. It is a siddha vastu. So there is karma, there is no role to play. There's no amount of doing or putting any effort you will gain anything. You have to know it. Through knowing that siddha vastu, that is what the Vedanta portion is trying to give you, the moksha portion, that is the desire to know myself. Once you are really, Upanishad says, one mantra comes in the Upanishad, Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedam ayat nasti akrita kriten. Once you examine Pariksha lokan, karmachitan lokan, all the experiences when you examine of your life, when you examine your experiences, you see that all the karma phalas are perishable. And what do you want? You don't want anything perishable. You want everything never-ending experience. That is the happiness which never ends. So therefore, that which is always this is ending. The result comes to an end. Then you repeat the action, repeat the same vasana. You through that this is cycle. You go through this cycle of this is my goal, this is my objective. You achieve this. Now what? Now what? I want continues. That does not come to an end. So wanting person never remains wanting. So this is the predicament, human predicament. Once you discern that actually speaking, it is not because something what you are ignorant of is you yourself, it is already gained. Why you are searching of it? Because you just don't know about it. And that is where the Siddha Vastu means which is already there. So until that is why the Vedanta portion comes in the end, the Upanishad comes in the form of an equation. It unfolds this equation. You know, there is an equation like E is equal to mc square is an equation, you know. It's an already existing fact that energy is equal to matter. Matter is equal to energy, both ways. Left hand side is equal to right hand side. So you start with left hand side and you hence prove right hand side. So how you arrive that matter is nothing but energy. So therefore this I am that is also an equation. This equation is to be proved. This equation is to be unfolded. And there is what this is what how this is a Siddha Vastu, how will you unfold it? There this only that is the words of Vedanta. Vedanta is like a words, the mirror word. How will you know what is to be gained? How will you know? Through satsang only you will know what is to be gained. These words of Vedanta only will unfold this equation of thou. This is what is called as Brahma Vidya. The self-evident I am is already existing and I am not aware of it. That what I am seeking is me, myself. Timeless, spaceless, objectless awareness. This non-understanding, this non-acceptance of the self, and always in the rat race, I'm running after things to find that happiness which is always eluding. And I delude myself, keeping into this rat race, just going on and on and on and on. You know, there is a very beautiful story to understand this aspect. You know, 10 fools were crossing the river. And the teacher told them that once you cross the river, you count yourself. So after crossing the river, they counted, and the leader counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then say that the 10th man is lost, he is drowned. So everybody counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All throughout, they kept on counting, and then the 10th man was missing. The leader, ultimately, they started crying. Then Sharda was going by from that side, and she saw that what is the matter, she asked. Then they said, see, we were 10 when we started, and when after crossing the river, we are only now 9. So she saw there are 10 people and said, okay, you trust me? Yes, I trust you. I will get you so you stand in a queue, I will get you the 10th man. So they started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The leader was last. So he said, Tom Dashamosi, you are the 10th man. So that 10th man, you are the 10th man. So Akash has joined us. Okay, Shelly is there. So all I can see now, people are late. So fine. I can see Mala, Sharda, Ankush, Akash. I should know now whom I'm speaking to. I was thinking only 5 people.
You have 17 people in your group right now.
Okay. Aradhana, Dalmia, Kalpana, Usha
Swamiji,
Agarwal.
17 including you.
Okay. Nitendra Sinha. Rolika is there. Payal Agarwal. Amulya is also there. Fine. Vatsala Tyagi.
वो जोर से हंसी बीच में अमूल्य की थी.
Just a minute. So I need not see myself. I have to see your faces. So Sharda, when she said, you are the 10th man, what? See that man, the 10th, I am 10th, I am there. That knowledge was always there for I am, but I am that very 10th man which I am seeking, that knowledge was missing. The general knowledge that I am, we all have. I am that very thing which I am seeking, that very 10th man, that very thing, that very Atma Tattva, that very Brahma Vidya, which I am seeking, that Brahman, that I am, is missing. So this equation is resolved. This is an equation given in our Shastras. That is why there is a dialogue. All Shastra is in a dialogue to really unfold to the student this understanding, because there is in Gita also we see there's a dialogue. Even if Arjuna was confused about his what to do, what not to do in the initial stages, ultimately, once he realized that, I told you in the last class, he says that the sense of sadness, the sense of lack, that the sense of sadness which is tormenting my sense organs, I don't see any means how to really resolve it. How to really resolve it, I don't see any means that this sadness, this wanting person, this sadness will go away. This will come to an end. That I don't see. So what to do? He says, you please. Then he says, you please teach me. You teach me. He says, there is something. That which is the ultimate good, that you please teach me. Because my mind is not able to ascertain what is right, what is wrong. So from the rightness and wrongness, he really jumped to, so Bhagavan never taught about the dharma, adharma part first. He talked about who you are essentially, who you are. Because once you are confused about your true identity, that is why you are confused about playing roles in life also. Unless and until you will know who you are, then that knowledge without that knowledge, you cannot be able to achieve anything. Whatever you keep on doing in this life. Therefore, the whole approach of the Bhagavad Gita, which is culled from the Upanishads, the Vedanta, this is this through Shravanam, through this understanding, through this knowledge. Shravana means not only just listening. Listening is of the Mahavakyas. Mahavakyas is this equation that I am that. This is unfolded throughout the Upanishads. I am that. Aham Brahma Asmi. So these Vakyas are not only four, there are many Mahavakyas. Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Atma Brahma, Pragyanam Brahma. And there are thousands of Mahavakyas like that, wherein I is equated to Ishvara. The essential nature of me is denoted. This is what is Jnanamaya Pradipa was lighted by Veda Vyasa in Bhagavad Gita. In Vedanta, this understanding is given. This unfoldment, this dialogue becomes of essential nature to gain. That is what is called Shravanam. Atma vare drashtavya. Atma is to be seen. What is to be done? It is said, Upanishad says, Yajnavalkya Rishi says to his wife, Maitreyi was asking the question, Shrotavyo mantavyo nididhyasitavya. Atma is to be seen, therefore it has to be listened to. Listening is of what? Why one has to listen to this Shastra, this dialogue? Because see, Vedanta is a pramana. It's a means of knowledge. It's an instrument of knowledge. Like suppose this is a pen, like you see this pen I am holding. And I say, okay, if I am in the class and I say, someone of you come and take this pen. Or you take this pen from me. Or better than that, because this is a Zoom class. So everybody asked you to clap. So I don't see everybody. So somebody clapped, somebody did not clap, somebody did otherwise. So in action, there is a choice involved. Kartum shakyam, agartum shakyam, anyatha kartum shakyam. You may do that action. You may not do that action. Or you may do something else. You may do something otherwise, So there is a choice in action. It is Purusha Tantra. It is will-based. Your choice is will-based. You may do it, you may not do it, or you can do it otherwise. But suppose if I say, see this color, this is what color this is. You don't have any choice in knowing this color, seeing this color. This color is orange. Everybody is seeing this ochre orange color. And therefore it is Vastu Tantra. The knowledge is true to its own object. It is not will-based understanding. It is object-based understanding. This is the knowledge which you have to know the way it is. And therefore it is Vastu Tantra. It is not Purusha Tantra. It is not will-based. So to I am the very seeker is the sought. How will I know myself? It is not the way I am. It is not through the will, through any mind, emotion, anything, intuition. You cannot come to know of it because it is Vastu Tantra. It is not will-based that you will to see this way, that I am like this, I am like that. Everybody has an image about oneself because everybody thinks to be oneself like this, like that, like something or the other. So Shravana is this pramana asambhavana. Pramana means pramakaranam, instrument of knowledge. Like the eyes are the instrument of knowledge to see the color. Like ears the instrument of knowledge to hear. So in epistemologically speaking, there are 5 means of knowledge which are said. Pratyaksha pramana, anumana pramana, arthapatti pramana, upamana pramana, then anupalabdhi pramana. These are the 5 pramanas, means of knowledge, instrument of knowledge, through which some knowledge happens. Pratyaksha is through the sense, all the sense organs, direct perception when it happens. And through the Sakshi Pratyaksha with the mind, what you are seeing directly in your mind, that is Sakshi Pratyaksha. Indriya Pratyaksha, Sakshi Pratyaksha, this is direct perception. Then Anumana Pramana is there. Through inference, you see smoke on a mountain, and therefore you infer there is a fire. Because there is an invariable concomitance between fire and a smoke. Wherever there is smoke, there is fire, you know it. This inference you draw because you have invariable concomitance through which you understand that wherever there is smoke, there will be fire. And because of this Anumana, this inference, you come to the understanding of fire, although you don't see fire there. So there are so many means of knowledge, like Arthapatti. You see somebody not eating the whole day. And after 40 days also, you are all the time whole day with him. And you see him not losing weight. So he must be eating in the night. You come to this understanding, this conclusion. Your conclusion based on your understanding that he must be eating in the night, because otherwise it is not possible. This otherwise it is not possible. Arthat apatti. Otherwise this sambhavana is not possible that he is not losing weight. That you come to understand this knowledge that he must be eating in the night. So through this various means of knowledge, Upamana is through, you have never seen a bison. And you see, you know it is like a buffalo. Somebody tells you bison is like a buffalo. When you see a buffalo, and you see a bison and you see it is like a buffalo, but not a buffalo, you come to the understanding of a bison. So like that, there are so many means of knowledge. Therefore, there is one more means of knowledge which is called as Shabda Pramana. Shabda Pramana is the Vedanta Pramana. The Shabda Pramana, here we are talking of Vedanta Pramana. Shabda can be through the meaning, like when you have not seen you have not seen Kashmir, suppose. And I give you the whole details about Kashmir, and you go to Kashmir and you come to know about Kashmir the way I had told you. So it is a verifiable knowledge through Shabda. Shabda Pramana is also, Veda is the Pramana about Swarga. You have not been to Swarga, but Veda is enumerating about Swarga. And therefore, that is not verifiable, but Veda is talking about Swarga, therefore Papa Punya, and therefore you accept it. So that is a word meaning of the Shabda Pramana. And there is something about knowledge which is not pratyaksha, not in direct perception, or paroksha, like Kashmir or heaven. If you have never seen an avocado, I tell you this is avocado, you come to know about an avocado. So, but when it is about something about myself, you are the 10th man. I am that very 10th man which I am seeking. How will you come to, how have you come to understand? I am that 10th man, that you already gained. So there is nothing doing involved. It is already, I am that. And therefore, when the words tell me, it's immediate knowledge happens, instantaneous knowledge happens. Akash, I can see you. So instantaneous knowledge happens.
No, I was not sleeping. I say I go in deep thinking, so don't.
Yeah. So therefore, that this understanding that I am that 10th man already, this is a Vishesha Jnana. I am that Brahman which I am seeking. This is the whole Pramana. Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, and Brahma Sutra, these form the 3 limbs of Vedanta Prasthanatrayi. These 3 limbs are really talking about the whole subject matter. That this Brahma Vidya. Brahman is what? Brihattamatvad Brahma. That Brahma means, Briha means big. Something very big. Big is, now this is a big mosquito. Big is very relative. And this is a big mountain. So big mosquito and big mountain. When you say big mosquito and when you say big mountain, big, you itself, you say big. Bigness is relative. And therefore, when we say big in terms of all pervasive cause of the whole world, that Brahman is all pervasive Brahman. That is what is called Jagat Karanam Brahma. So that Atma, which is with reference to this individual self, that very same Atma is with reference to the total world. When you say Brahman, Brahma Vidya is Atma Vidya, Brahma Vidya. Atma is Brahman. This equation is resolved by the Upanishads, by the Bhagavad Gita, and that is why the study of the Bhagavad Gita becomes of great importance. You say, what is the proof? You will say, Swamiji, what is the proof? When I say Vedanta is a pramana, as an instrument of knowledge, So therefore, my teacher used to give us a story, There was a blind boy, young man, and he was declared that he cannot be in India. He was declared that his eyes cannot be really treated, and he will not be able to see. So once he went to UK and some doctor saw him, and he says, no, you can get the sight. I will operate upon you, and you will be able to know. You will be able to see. So the day came, his operation was successfully done. And the day came when his eyes bandage was to be opened. So when the bandage was to be opened, this boy asked, Doctor, you proved me that my operation was successful. You proved to me that I will be able to see my operation was successful. Please prove to me. Otherwise, I don't want to really get disheartened. And I really want you to first. He says, I have no way to tell you that my operation is unsuccessful. I have every reason to say that your operation is successful. Your very eyes are the proof. You have to use the very eyes to see. Your eyes, your instrument of knowledge itself is the very proof. And therefore, you have to operate your eyes to say that you are able to see or not. Therefore, Vedanta is also, once you get to know that this is Vedanta is a means of knowledge, instrument of knowledge, pramana, therefore you have to employ the pramana. Another example my teacher used to give, very beautiful. When you go and buy a mirror in a shop, what do you say? Where is your attention when you are buying a mirror? When you are buying a mirror, your attention is that the image is clear or not. That my image is not bloated or not long or broad, or it is not blurred. It is very clear image. So your attention is totally at the mirror surface, whether this surface, the image is clear or not. But once you put that mirror in your bathroom, then when you go, do you see? What do you see? You don't check. You just see your image. You just see your face. Same way, Vedanta is, once you have ascertained that Vedanta is a means of knowledge, it is a pramana. So once you have assessed, once you use that, then you use that to see your own face. You see? Anu, you get this point? You are not checking. You are just seeing the image of your own self. You see yourself through that image, through that mirror. So this is what Vedanta Pramana is. Vedanta Nama Upanishad Pramanam. This is the very huge sentence. The whole edifice, the whole legitimacy of Vedanta is based on this, that through this unfoldment of the words of Vedanta, the whole doubt. So Shravana is again and again, Punapponena Shravanam Kuryat Sarvam Samyasya. They says you have to keep on hearing the whole Vedantic understanding, and therefore to clear the cobwebs in your mind, to see yourself. Because what can you do about yourself? How can you see yourself? You cannot see. You have to really remove all the doubts the way you see, because you are already experiencing yourself, but you don't know that you are already that. This is the Vedanta is solving such a problem which does not exist, really speaking. There is no problem at all. This problem is of the mind. Therefore, mind has to be fixed first. And therefore, for this Brahma Vidya, first you have to prepare the mind. That is why Yoga Shastra is, I told you in the last class, the Yoga Shastra is there to really prepare the mind how to be, you will be able to see yourself, that Brahma Vidya will work, that Brahma Vidya will, you Atma Vidya, that Atma is Brahman, this understanding will be able to, you will be able to really come to terms with yourself. This is the whole Bhagavad Gita is teaching, both Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. So this whole understanding is in terms of Shabda Pramana. Like the words I told you, like you cannot see your own eyes, you have to use mirror. So there the words are the mirror. The word image is formed through which you come to understand all your doubts you have to clear, and therefore Mananam is done. Shravana Manana. So after the Shravana Manana is all the logic of the possibility of you not being that is removed. All these unwanted things which you have clarity, to gain the clarity of yourself being that after listening to the words of the teacher, the master is unfolding, the teacher is unfolding with whatever method, through the words of the teacher or through his own experience is explaining, then you have come to terms with this understanding, and then you employ the logic of the Shruti, the Yukti, and then you are able to arrive at the truth by removing all the doubts, and then you own up that understanding. Yes, I am that. That is called Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam is contemplation. Contemplation is on the words of whatever you have arrived at through the words of the teacher and through the logic of the scriptures, whatever you have understood that I am that essentially, that this understanding becomes firm, that firm abidance happens. That is why the study of the Bhagavad Gita becomes very, very important. Any questions? So I'm giving 15-20 minutes.
Swamiji?
Yeah, Amulya.
Pranam, Swamiji.
Yeah.
This is wonderful for me. It's thank God I joined. So Vedanta will the pramans, the 5 pramanas you mentioned, it will fall under the Shabda Pramana.
The 5 pramanas are, the Shabda Pramana is the 6th Pramana. Okay,
Shabda Pramana is the 6th Pramana.
Yeah. So 5 pramanas are other pramanas which we are, the seeker, the knower is using, the experiencer is using.
Normally using.
And because, the seeker, but here the seeker is the sought. Therefore, how will I know myself? Not through any of these other 5 pramanas. Pratyaksha, I cannot see myself. I cannot infer. All these other pramanas fail there. Therefore, Shabda Pramana is the word mirror. All these shastras, where through the dialogue, you come to understand the tattva, the vidya, this Brahma Vidya, through the teaching. Through the teachers, it is taught. See, all this Guru Granth Sahib, what is it? All the Guru Granth Sahib are in the form of granthas, the experiences of the masters. It's in the form of a teaching. So they are teaching that through words. These are the words through which you come to really see yourself in that light. Because seeing yourself, you are already experiencing yourself. But You are not able to assess this is that Brahman which I am already. But and therefore the seeking ends, a search ends when all the doubts end. All the doubts will end, then clarity in the mind happens. And all the cobwebs are removed.
Wonderful.
And therefore all the cobwebs are removed. Till then, the teaching goes on, Shravanam goes on, listening goes on, thinking, reflection goes on, contemplation goes on, and all your sadhana goes on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for this elaboration. Would you kindly give me the name of the fifth pramana? I missed it accurately.
Anupalabdhi pramana is pramana of absence. Something is absent. Suppose Anupalabdhi. So these are all epistemology, the knowledge of the means of instrument. Epistemology are the five means of knowledge is Pratyaksha pramana, Anumana pramana, Arthapatti pramana, Upamana pramana, Anupalabdhi, absence. Something is not is absent when you say that this is not there, and that way you come to understand that that thing is not there. It is a huge. So this through all these valid means of knowledge is only Shabda pramana here is in the form of words, Vedanta. Vedanta is in the form of Upanishads. Upanishads are dealing with this Mahavakyas. Mahavakya does not mean great sentence. Mahavakyas are that which really unfold your identity with that Ishvara. Thou art that. You are the very cause of this whole universe. You are not a small, insignificant, inadequate being, insecure being. You are already that. In fact, you are the cause of this whole world, not you as a body mind sense complex. You as you, when I say I, when Bhagavan Krishna is saying I in Bhagavad Gita, he's saying I as Ishvara, not with this Mr. Krishna, but he is using the term as I as the Ishvara. And therefore, with that understanding, you can say, I am also that. Yes. Sharda, you were asking.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, Swamiji, I just wanted one example of the difference between Anumana and Arthapatti. Because
Anumana
is a step ahead. So what exactly would constitute Arthapatti?
Arthapatti is two-step logic. Suppose, you don't,
A is equal to B, A is equal to C, and therefore A is equal to C.
That is right. That is directly you see smoke and therefore you infer fire.
All right.
So last night you were sleeping and it rained and you did not see the rain, and then you come see everything is wet. And therefore it must have rained, otherwise it is not possible that the whole ground.
So that could be Anuman also.
No, that is Arthapatti, two-step logic.
Okay.
Two-step logic is there. You
so
don't
Anuman
see.
is more like a making an approximation.
Yes. Anumana is invariable confidence you see directly.
Swamiji?
Yes. Yes, Amulya.
Swamiji, for our common understanding, we may call it inferential pramana.
Inference is Anumana.
Is Anumana.
Arthapatti is, yeah. Anumana is inference.
Would be deduction or what? Deduction, two-stage deduction or something.
Yeah, Arthapatti is, otherwise it is not possible actually. Yeah.
Achha.
Yes, any other question? Today's class was more about Brahma Vidya I was talking about. Therefore, Brahma Vidya, why it is important, what is the need to study, that understanding happens only when you understand that this is a Shabda Pramana, and therefore it becomes imminent. The study becomes very imminent. The Shravana, that is why it is said, Vinu Satsanga Vivekana, that we said in our cafe spirituality session.
Yes.
Vinu Hari Kripa Milai, nothing can happen. Therefore, you remember that you were there, Amulya was there, most people were there. So
I
satsang
remember,
is the
sir.
Shravana.
I remember.
Yeah, Shravana. Shravana is not mere listening. Shravana is not just mere listening of scriptures. It is tatparya nishchaya. Tatparya means arriving at the purport of the whole teaching.
Beautiful.
Arriving
Beautiful.
at this understanding what is this self is Brahman. Arriving, deducing, and how that possibility is there, that is the Tatparya Nishchaya. It's not mere listening. So therefore, any dialogues wherever a student asks the Rishi, like in Kaivalya Upanishad, Brahmaji is asked, Ashwalayana is the student, he goes and he says, please teach me Brahma Vidya. So he does not directly give Brahma Vidya. He first gives him the means, Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana, Yoga, Davehi. Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana. So Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana, Yoga, Davehi. He says first Shraddha. Shraddha in the teaching, Shraddha in the scriptures, Shraddha in the teacher. All this is Shraddha. Without the Shraddha and Bhakti, devotion towards the Ishvara, because of which your whole, your mind is not ready, prepared to understand. You are already fixed. You are already limited by playing so many roles. You are engrossed in the joys of playing roles, that what you are talking of being the cause of the whole world, to understand that I am that, equating yourself, how you will be able to really come to terms with this understanding that you are that. Therefore, Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana. Therefore, meditation is so important. To come to Nididhyasana, contemplation is so important. That preparedness is so important. Without that contemplation, how you will be able to arrive? Therefore, he says, first you prepare your mind. Then I will teach you Brahma Vidya. Therefore, Yoga Shastra by Bhagavad Gita becomes so important, because in Gita, Bhagavan is preparing Arjuna side by side. First giving in the second chapter, first he gives the Sankhya Yoga completely, the Jnanam, Atma Vidya, Brahma Vidya. And then he really teaches him in the second chapter in a nutshell what is Yoga Shastra. We have seen some verses in our classes of the first 5 shlokas we had seen already. Yes, any other question? We still have time.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Yeah.
I just recall that towards the end of Janak Yagyavalka Samvad, which is once again the same what you are mentioning, the different conversations, Janak submits his his obedience to Yagyavalk in these words, that श्रवण मात्रेण मोक्षम, आपने मुझे श्रवण के माध्यम से मोक्ष दे दिया.
हाँ, श्रवण मात्रेण ज्ञानम, ये उपनिषदों ने कहा है. क्योंकि देखिए, इसके लिए स्वामी जी हमारे एक बात बताते थे. I gave a joke today. You hear a joke from me, and you could not understand the meaning of the joke. After 3 days in the bathroom, you were thinking again on my words, what I had told, and you laughed. The same words, Shravanam of the joke, worked, even in spite after 3 days. So, Shravana Matrena Jnanam. So, Shravan से वो जो immediate knowledge नहीं हुई, Shravan, because the mind was not ready to understand the words of the joke. So, ultimately, when you really understood, it clicked. And you said, Eureka, oh, you laughed. So same word, Shravana Matrena Jnanam, this is the understanding. But it depends upon the preparedness of the student. If you are an adhikari, if you are a ready person, then you can immediately understand. Uttam adhikari, Madhyam adhikari, Adham adhikari. Uttam adhikari is straight away, he is given just like that, fire catches a dry wood immediately. And if the wood is wet, it takes time. That is the thing.
Sir, yes. Thank you very much, sir.
So what else then? I had to give you this.
If Swamiji,
yeah,
the joke which you narrated, actually in the common worldly sense, have a connected joke with it. that somebody was visiting the zoo he saw that all the animals are roaming around normally, and the donkey is laughing and rolling in mud. And then he asked the zoo authorities, what's the issue? Does he do it daily? He said, no. The lion had narrated a joke on Sunday.
Good one. This is what I meant.
So all the animals laughed on Sunday.
Sunday.
He has got it today.
He got it today.
He got it today.
So Shravana Matrena Jnanam. Right. So what else? We end the session by some chanting, Anu.
जी स्वामी जी.
You want to chant something?
जो आप बोले.
तो
मैं एक मिनट मंत्र पुष्पम उठा लाऊं.
मंत्र पुष्पम, और you have this ना.
क्या करेंगे?
किन्या बाल विहार गाइड.
वो भी है, क्या करना क्या है?
Anything what you want to do?
अरे आप बताएं जो
कहें.
कहें.
Learning दक्षिणामूर्ति स्तोत्रम.
Yes.
Okay. ठीक है.
तो वो ध्यान श्लोक का कर लेते हैं. You have बाल विहार गाइड ना?
No, I don't.
Sharda, you remember na Dakshinamurti Dhyana Shlokas?
Most of it.
Let me find it on the net and share it, and I will try and find a site जो बीच में हमें लॉक आउट नहीं कर दे. Give me a minute.
Okay. Then after that we end the session.
Ji Swami.
The Dhyana Shlokas of Dakshinamurti. Because you are very fond of chanting, that is why I thought of doing it.
Thank you, Swamiji. फोटोज खींच के भेजूं या तो नेट पे तो मुझे मिल नहीं रहा.
चलो रहने देते हैं फिर. We will next time we will do it. Okay, we will end the session.
खोज लिया. और वो पूरे लंबा साथ में उसका वो है.
Oh, you have to keep on.
हाँ.
तो next time करें या
नहीं ऐसे छोड़ेंगे थोड़ी ना.
अच्छा.
मौका मिला है तो not gonna leave. मौन व्याख्या प्रकटित ये वाला ना.
हाँ. मौन व्याख्या प्रकटित पर ब्रह्म तत्त्वं युवानम् वर्षिष्ठान् देव सदृशि गणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलित चिन्मुद्रमानन्दं रूपं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णं सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमहरात् त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवं जननमरणदुःखच्छेददक्षं नमामि. चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धा शिष्या गुरुर्युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्न संशयाः. निधये सर्वविद्यानां विषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। That's it.
Verse छूट गया। चिद्घनाय
महेशाय वटमूलनिवासिने चिदानन्दरूपाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ विश्वन्दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतम् पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। So this is the first stanza of Dakshinamurti Totram. It's a long one, that's enough. There are so many verses. But Dhyana shlokas were up to Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti. So next class we will do about values, about Think Dharma, about Yoga Shastras. What is the basis of the Bhagavad Gita, the context we will look into. Right? So we end the session here, or anything, anybody has to say anything?
Swamiji, we should also start chanting Gita stotrams. I mean, shlokas.
Gita shlokas also, if you want to learn, I can teach you here.
Ji.
We want some.
Yes.
So
Swamiji, I also desire the same.
So what chapters you begin with? One verse. Okay, today we start with first verse.
We can start with the first one, Dharma Kshetre.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Ath Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ath Pratamodhyaya Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. You can repeat. Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. Samavetaye Utsavaha. Samavetaye Mamaka Pandavachaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Okay. Namaste. Thank you everyone.
Swamiji.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sir, if everybody agrees, at least 5 shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita every time, one will take eons.
Yeah, okay. 5 shlokas.
5
per day.
Yeah, 5 per day.
Next
time.
Per session. Per session.
5 per session.
Okay.
So we'll be ready with our Bhagavad Gita.
Hari Om Swamiji. Hari Om.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Thank you.
Pranam. Hari Om.
Namaste. Hari Om.
Pranam Swamiji.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om Swamiji. बहुत अच्छा.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Yeah. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Okay, people. Recording stop.